again?
We can pass it. We have resolutions this morning, so I think we'll go with that. All right, everybody got a seat?
Yes, sir, anywhere. Thank you.
Any members, well, actually, we will call the meeting to order. We do have approval posting in accordance with Chapter 551 of Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. Yes, we do. Thank you. The reason we're skipping the other part is because we already done that earlier, at an earlier meeting. Any members of the public who wish to speak shall each have 3 minutes to address the court. Now, I think all the rest of you that are here for our meeting with TxDOT, so you'll get an opportunity to speak during that. So is there anyone else that would like to speak? All right. If not, we will go to item number 1, interlocal agreement for dispatch with the city of Fairfield. We have worked with them, changing a couple of little things. Basically, well, you have it, you can read it.
And they agreed to.
They agreed to furnish 3.5 slots.
I figured that's what that is.
And that's what that is. And then it will be paid monthly, but then it will be adjusted when we look at the changes in salary as things go forward. Every year it may be adjusted. All right. Any questions about the contract for dispatch services?
Need a motion?
Yes.
Make a motion to accept this contract for dispatch service for the city of Fairfield.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carried. All right, we will go to item number 2, which is the meeting with TxDOT. We're all here today to visit with you about all of our concerns, from the schools to the emergency, various emergency people that are here today, and our postmaster is here today. We have firefighters, got a lot of people that are very concerned about the project that we're going to be proceeding with on 27. Do you have something you would like to say first before we take?
Well, I think I would just want to, just a brief overview of the project, if that's all right. I mean, we understand maybe some of the decisions involved, and then we can get to understanding, I think, what everybody's concern. I think we know the overriding concern of what it is, and it's about response time and access and everything. So we can start to kind of pinpoint things and work towards some solutions. But so my name is Andrew Pollock. I'm the Director of Construction with the Bryan District. We have Delmy Reyes, who is our air engineer in Huntsville. Bradley Piker is an engineer. He's the project manager for the design. And I actually don't.
It's okay. I'm new to this area. Jason Gilkey, I'm one of the project managers for Huntsville office.
So he'll be working in the actual construction project. So I think most of you are familiar, but we have 3 bridges on FM 27 that we need to replace with brand new wider structures. They're between FM 80, Curvin, and Fairfield city limits, kind of rough distance. They're in that area. We proposed to close FM 27 completely in order to remove and replace those bridges. And there's 3. There's 2 that are grouped together and 1 that's kind of off by itself. So the initial closure would just be for the 2 bridges. And then once those are complete and open, then you would move up and close the other bridge and get it knocked out. The kind of the reason why we opted for a full closure is mainly it's a cost savings and a time savings. So when we looked at this project originally, if we tried to build the bridges in sections, moving traffic back and forth, we're looking at over 2 years of construction. If we close the bridges completely, we're down to about 1.5 years. But it also saves the state and taxpayers about.
That'll be 1.5 years on one and 1.5 years.
1.5 years for both.
For
Total contract time. So, and then I mean, we kind of figured out it's about $1 million in savings on the contract cost. So that's some of the reasons that went behind why we made that decision to close the bridges versus trying to keep things open and just moving traffic back and forth. So we didn't, unfortunately, and I apologize to you all here, we didn't do a good job when we made that decision of reaching out and talk with you all before the project even went to letting And so I'm really thankful that y'all are willing to meet with us, and we can talk about what the issues are and how we can work around it. We're open to working with y'all on anything we can come up with. We would like to be able to close the roadway and take these bridges out and get them removed. We plan to talk with our contractor about their schedule and any ways that we can speed up the construction, maybe even cut that overall time down if we can. But we wanted to hear from y'all first. Then we plan to go talk to the contractor, and then we'd like to come back to y'all with some solutions. See what y'all, what we can come up with together and agree on. And I mean, if worse comes to worse, if we can't agree on anything, then we have other options. We can decide to terminate the contract if we have to, where basically we just tell the contractor, hey, I'm sorry, we're not going to move forward with this. There's a little bit of money involved in that because they put effort into that. But then we go back to the drawing board, we redesign the project, and we come back maybe 6 months, a year later to try again with a better plan overall. So that, on the outside, that's an option. It's really not the one I want to go with if we can avoid it. But we're definitely not here to shove this down your throats and say it's got to happen. We've got to replace the bridges at some point, but we want to have a good solution that everybody can live with. So.
All right.
Well, I think both those bridges are in my precinct, and I've got multiple calls from a lot of people. The first thing, y'all worked on Highway 27, had a project going for about a year or so, resurfacing it. And so we had all kinds of problems then with mud, with people calling, having to stop and go and so forth and so on. The other problem with that is, and y'all replaced the bridge down on 488, and in that project, y'all left half of the bridge open, and you built half of it, and you did the other half. So, I mean, and the problem with up there is if we have an accident on 45, they divert the traffic from the 45 either down 246 to 27 to Fairfield, or they divert it down 80 down to 246 to Fairfield. So, or if they have it down here, they divert it up 27. And all that traffic is going down 27. And so, I mean, that's a major concern for us. The other thing is, it's affecting the schools, it's affected emergency people, the ambulances, and I mean, the sheriff's department, it's just a real inconvenient for us. And people they constantly contact me because I got blamed for fixing the road before, and I had nothing to do with it. But the fact is, I also talked to somebody, I'm not sure who it was, somebody in y'all's office, I'm not sure if it's in Brian, if it's in...
I believe it was our bridge engineer that you talked to. Our bridge engineer, Carlos Lagoon.
Maybe so. They indicated to me that y'all had replaced a bridge on 75, and I think in Leon County. Was it in Leon County?
We did, yes. We had it was actually a very old culvert that was having issues, and we actually replaced it with a bridge structure. And we did it.
Right there on those cars.
And y'all completely closed it, and whoever it was that I talked to said that because they got to close the road, they got through with that project a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Well, and then they kind of, whoever was kind of contradicted that it was not just exactly the best way to have done it. But I'm just saying, from my standpoint, from the people I represent, we actually need a way to get down Highway 27.
Okay. If I ask,
Probably even if it takes longer for the project,
it would be better to maintain access.
it would be better because
Don't y'all have, in there kids from Worthing School District that are on the other side?
There are.
Isn't that correct?
Yes, so it's going to extend our kids' days and our driver's days significantly.
Yeah.
The bridge on Katy Creek will not affect the Worthing School District, but the one on Grindstone will affect
Yes.
the Worthing
Okay.
District. And the only way to get from Worthing to Fairfield is to either go down 80, come down County Road 1080, down to the service road and into town, or go down the service road and go down to 833, go over to 80, and then back to 27, and then back to Worthing. Or if you're going from here, you would go out here to 941 take 941, go down to 934, get 930, come out on 1360, come out on 80 at Simsboro.
Okay.
So
I didn't catch all those county roads, but I
But
understand.
two of those
Yeah,
county roads
it's just
you're talking about,
no main-
they
No
flood.
main backup.
So if we did have heavy rains,
Flood, yeah.
two of those accesses that he was talking about,
Go away.
they're gonna be non-passable if it's a lot of rain.
Can we hear from some of the individuals in next? Sheriff, would you like to be first, and then we'll just go around?
I will go off of what Commissioner Clyde said. Yes, we have other ways around, but you're talking, that's a long way around, and those are small roads. There's no way they can hold traffic like what we're looking at, taking off 27. Not only that, you're talking 5 to 10 minutes at least, depending on where we're going, or even further, if we're trying to get to Wortham to back up them, because they're in a bind. I mean, you're probably looking at 15 to 20 minutes. Us trying to work through traffic on the smaller roads or going 15 miles out of the way to try to get to another road that'll eventually get us there. So whether it's an ambulance, a fire truck, or the police, that's a major issue for us that work it, but specifically for our citizens that are looking to have our assistance, and we can't get there. So, and the 27 is our main thoroughfare, straight through there. Yeah.
So as far as the emergency services, fire, ambulance, even police, I mean, I'm assuming you all have some type of cooperation agreements between each other to respond, because whether.
We're all here.
You're all here, okay, you're all here.
We gotta
So
get
there's-
there.
Okay, that's what I was trying to.
Representatives are all here.
Yeah, well, but the responding units, I'm saying, the people that are responding, the majority of us are here. We're on
Okay.
this side of that
This side of the
bridge.
bridge. That's what I'm trying to understand, because
Yes.
there's not a, precinct 1 facility in Wortham. No,
Right.
they're all on this side.
And it works the other way. Wortham's one of our best backup units that when we're in a bind, we know Wortham's coming.
Okay.
Well, if they have to go up 14, south 14, and then east on through Mahay, they gotta come through Mahay. They're 15, 20 minutes from,
Yeah.
I don't have 15 or 20 minutes when I'm in a bind,
No.
So it's far enough just coming straight down 27, much less having to go through another city just to try to get back into our county.
Well, the school bus at Wortham probably gonna go to Mahay and then come around, rather than go dirt road.
Well, what we would have to do is, because we have kids on both sides of it, so we'll have to come and hit this side, and then come back around to go back and hit that. And that's gonna put an extra hour, or two on morning and afternoon route, and that's a long time for the kids to be on a bus.
Or even waiting for a bus,
Right,
early
right.
morning.
Currently, yeah.
That's too much time to have kids in a bus, period, like just driving around. You're leaving yourself too
Pick them up
open.
sometime in the morning.
There's just a-
Yeah, my bus driver,
County
not
roads
too
that
early.
parallel it and come back in.
That was a 6 a.m.
We
first
north
time.
side, right, Clyde? There's no county roads that parallel 27 that tie back into 27. I mean, this is not that kind of unique.
It's just not a good way to get
To
running.
go around the quick corners.
And if it's flooding, you can't get down 941 and you can't get down 1080.
488, which is in my precinct, they set up a red light at the bridge and did half and half. Are these bridges wide enough to do half and half?
These bridges, it'll be tight, because I think the existing bridges are about 20-foot wide. So that leaves you about a 10-foot lane with any kind of barrier to make sure nobody falls off. So when it gets tight, we'll have to restrict trucks and everything. We'll normally restrict them anyway, but we would have to put some restrictions on the roadway. I'm trying to think, with an emergency vehicle, I think 10 foot is something you can clear, but it'll be tight for an engine.
What about you and the ambulance?
Well, so our, you're talking about lift, we normally, get into that, engines are probably something that, it'll be a tight spot. The question is, I think the big question is the inconvenience. Either we drive around, or we have the inconvenience of having to stop, wait for one lane. And I think most of us rather have a one lane access than no lane access.
Sure.
as emergency services that want to get to either my side or TIG's side, it's going to affect where we put patients, how we pick those patients up, the response times that you're going to be affecting. It's minutes. Sheriff's talking about 20 or 30 minutes. We got 6 minutes to respond to emergency traffic. If I have an option to go one lane where I can get through, I'd much rather take the one lane. Now, I'm a citizen that lives and works, and I work in Fairfield, so I commute that road every day. And although it being an inconvenience of when y'all did replace the bridges there as tank farms, it's still a good option to have the one lane available. If we're talking about money here, what you're doing is you're saving money and a little bit of time.
It's gonna cost us.
But it's gonna cost us,
Yeah.
and the taxpayers of this county, more money to go around.
And the school district.
And the school district. I mean, every entity that's involved here is gonna be paying more money to go around that.
Plus emergency
Yes. Most important.
And not only is it inconvenience for me, but I live between those bridges.
If y'all do knock him out at both times, be sure he's at home.
Well,
Do y'all not have an option, or is it out of the rules as far as just putting in what we call a tank car culvert? Round passage?
I think in our plan, that was not, I guess it was maybe considered initially when we look at how we phase it, but it's not currently in the plan, but we can do it if we have the room in the right of way. And we were talking about that over in the hallway, and I believe we have about 100 foot of right of way on FM 27. We might have a little more at the bridge itself. And so that, with the roadway and everything, that gives us about 30 feet, give or take 40 feet to work with. But that's something that's definitely an option we've been talking about and considering. It's one way we talked to our contractor about, because they may, even though we had not planned one for traffic, the contractor may plan one just so they can go from either side of the bridge and work without having to loop around as
Yeah,
well.
that'd be a big deal.
Yeah.
If one side of the other.
what about the fire departments? Is it, when they're talking about whoever's going to speak on the fire departments, would that be a better option? Because if they have a big fire truck, could it go across that bridge if it was a one-way?
It can be made to support that, yes.
Or the drive around, whatever you call
Yes.
that?
Yeah, we'll call it a low water crossing. It'd be designed, the risk with a low water crossing is that if you have a significant rain event, it does get flooded. Versus if we try to stay on top of the existing bridge, then that still remains passable.
No obstruction.
Yeah. So,
I guess kind of sum it up is, we're not concerned about a low time for us to have to drive around to get to the other spot. It's all of these emergency and school issues, and we haven't heard from the post office yet, but that's going to be an issue for them to deliver mail. But it's those emergency situations that we have all the time that we're really concerned about our citizens. If you can't get to somebody in an emergency within just a short time, it's going to be life or death.
let's say, I don't know what else more I can say. I think I wanted to get just a better idea of how many different jurisdictions we're kind of impacting. So, I mean, you've mentioned T, Fairfield, obviously, Wortham schools. I think is Fairfield schools or
Fairfield schools will be affected by that first set.
The first one, okay. Let's see, post-school service.
Yes, between those two, between the three bridges, the streetman carries the mail to that area.
Okay.
They're timed every 60 seconds. We want to talk to the postmaster about every 60 seconds on their routes. I think it was roughly 20-minute detour for them that they'd be, I guess, penalized in a way, that they're not delivering mail and just driving. So that would affect them in that as well.
Oh, so that's an effect on the carrier itself.
Yeah.
Because of the time being.
But use that 20 minutes, use that 20 minutes that they're affected and think about what that's going to do for ambulance, fire, and law enforcement.
Yeah.
20 minutes, whatever was happening is done and over with by the time we get there.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
long
also
time.
gonna cost the individual that's just commuting back and forth to work
Yeah.
every day.
So I think from
You
the,
know, when you think about the children, I mean, they are gonna have to get up extremely early for that year and a half and be on that bus for a long time, in the morning and in the evening, and that's a stressful thing for parents and for all of us to.
There's a lot of traffic on 27. I'm sure y'all are aware how much traffic's increased over the last, I've lived there for 30 years, and I'm sure in the last 5 years it's increased.
Them grain trucks still got to do there. Should be a lot of grain trucks.
Yeah, the vehicle over there
I think
going to feed
I've seen the trucking has increased on that, for sure. And just, I think if I just have an idea in my own head, like, as far as the number of calls that you think that from that side of the county that you might respond to in a week, any idea over, I mean, you're talking, maybe a day, 10?
Well, I
don't
can
know.
give you, off the top of my head, I can probably give you how many calls I just get Wortham.
Yeah.
And that's probably about 450. Oh, well, that's probably about at least around 100.
Yeah.
And that's just for one law enforcement agency. That doesn't have anything to do with Wortham Fire,
Right.
ambulance, I mean, nothing. That's just
Schools,
schools, that's just,
But I mean, your calls are,
Post office.
the calls that you get could be combination. You're responding to disturbance or a crash or something that involves EMS or going to involve fire or going to involve other things. So it's still kind of indicative. There's a lot that goes on,
yes.
and that's going to be a big impact.
Yes, and we don't, we're a small rural, small rural area, and so whereas you might can shut down a bridge well, the way we're set up, like you said, we have no parallel roads. It's not like we can jump on this one and keep heading the same way. It's like this, all through the county or way down here and way back up. So, none of us have enough people to where we can just handle it ourselves.
Yeah.
So if Wortham has something, we usually have somebody going or en route, just in case.
Just in case.
The fire departments, they all work together. They get called out together because we're volunteer. Nobody's paid, so you don't know who's available and who's not. So when you call out a fire department and 2 show up, well, you may need another fire department or 2 to help. If that road's cut off, they're never going to be there in time to help them with what they need. So we all have to work together as far as that's concerned, and this basically cuts that completely out.
All right.
And when you have to go into a whole other county, say Limestone
Yeah.
or Navarro off 246, and then go through a whole other city just to come back into our county and get to where we need help, yeah, that's not a good idea.
Now, and I will say, I mean, the detour that we designed that for through traffic. That wasn't, we expect people that know the routes and know, to go, you could take 80 through Kerman or take whatever little route that expect local traffic to find their way because they know the route. But we try to focus on the through traffic, the people that don't know anything. And so by taking them the most logical route, which is, for me, was 246 down to 45 and back down around, that's where that design comes from. We're thinking about the people that have no clue where they are. And we hope that y'all locally say, oh, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go to Kerwin, that's fine. But I also didn't wanna divert trucks through Kerwin because you've got that sharp 92, 90 degrees there, and it's like, I'm not putting trucks through there. So that kind of influenced our decision on where we were putting that.
Right, and another thing, I don't know, I'm thinking y'all thought about it, but, all this work we're having done here in Fairfield, just off the service roads, and then they're gonna be starting the interstate. Well, if y'all got that shut down for a year and a half, and then we got this going on, man, that traffic's gotta get somewhere. And we don't have a single road in this county that can hold that interstate traffic.
No.
Not one.
And you're
They
not-
try to use 75, and it is,
Nightmare.
it is a nightmare.
That's something, I mean, we experienced that in Emory County along 45.
Yeah. But-
75 and 39 can't handle it.
Right, so if we have all that going at the
Tires
same time.
blew over, the last straight line wings.
Yeah.
In Plot blocked 75 and 45.
It did.
And that was an eye-opener watching
Yep.
that much traffic go to Langley, Texas to get on 1848
You know,
to Buffalo.
We were out clearing the roads till 3 or 4 in the morning, I don't know. And I'm on the county road and everybody's got all these people that come off the interstate had the GPS and they were routing them through these county roads and we had trees blocked. Like they were in our way, stuck in the ditch trying to go around stuff. I mean, it was crazy. People going to Doney, going down the county roads.
So,
getting off
yeah,
the-
so basically what I'm saying is, it's gonna be very difficult with you shutting down the bridge, just shutting down the bridge and making us go around. It's a whole other story when something happens on that interstate or somewhere else, and then our county's already cut off because we got that 27 shut down.
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know how we even try to work around that. We need 27 open.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of emergency, like at the work and school, I mean, every law enforcement in this area heads that way to get there. And Workham's got 2 or 3 police officers there. I mean, so it would be a nightmare for them to try to get there. But lo and behold, that, hopefully that never happens. I know the superintendent and some of her board are here, and, you know, we got concerns about 27 being closed.
Okay. All right. So we'll say, we have definitely heard you. And
Plus the
we're,
fact, you know, we don't have a substation for the sheriff's department to have officers in different areas. It all has to come from here that way.
Unless we're lucky enough to be on that side of the county already, you know?
Yeah.
well, if I remember, I mean, maybe it's changed, it's been a while, but isn't Wortham and Streetman shared the police department at some point?
Yes.
They did? Okay.
Work on covers.
Covers between the two. I remember.
They use 246 normally to get there.
Okay. All right. I mean, Comm, do you want to add anything?
Well, I think knowing that everything kind of comes out of Fairfield is, that was news to me. There were substations outside, so I think we're knowing that and hearing all the information here, it's gonna help us make a better decision.
Okay. So we're gonna,
It's great that y'all came.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
William, did you have anything? Okay, I don't want to ignore anybody, so if anybody else has anything to say, we'd love to hear it.
okay. So, I'll just, we're not gonna start construction until we get this figured out. And we're gonna go back and basically look at our options, what we've discussed, low water crossing, changing the phasing on the bridge, and see what we can do to make that work and keep something open.
Like the low water crossing, that might help y'all's timeline, you know,
Yeah.
instead of half and half, you know, if it's
And
possible.
funds too, maybe
Yeah.
that would.
Yeah,
And funds.
so
Yeah.
we'll put that together, but I think our plan is, and we'll keep you updated, but we're on a timeline, so we hope I'll be back, or we'll contact you approximately 2 weeks.
Please.
We'll be here,
Give
just
you
let
an
us know.
update.
We'll be here.
And I think we'll give you an update via email or phone, and then if we want to schedule another meeting for everybody to look at what the new plan is, we'll do that.
Thank y'all so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
And we're not attacking you. We're not attacking you. We just, but we want to make sure they understand the importance of it, of us being able to get through there.
Yes.
You know, and making sure that whoever's making that decision knows, we don't have an alternate road that we can just jump on and get right back on. It's
We'll take it.
big, so, but, yeah, thanks for coming and hearing us.
Sure.
And
Have y'all had any other calls about 27, about after y'all retopped it, did all that, are y'all in that department? Any of y'all in that department?
Yes.
You all?
Yes.
Have you had some phone calls?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would figure you did. You probably could still get some.
Yes, we're gonna,
gonna reevaluate that one?
yes.
Yeah, good.
So basically, this project is done. We're just gonna go ahead and close it out, but we're gonna see what we can do to help the ride on it.
When you go out by the tank farm, I'm sure you probably don't know where the tank farm is, between Wortham and Kirkland. If you get that big hole over there on the side, if you're coming back toward Fairfield on the right-hand side, and you hit that big hole, you'll know that you hit it. And there's one also going to Wortham, when you hit the port up there, it'll try to pull you off in the ditch. So I travel that road probably 4 or 5 times a day. I get plenty of phone calls, so I'm gonna get your number, so I can. Thank y'all for coming.
Well, we appreciate y'all inviting us and open and willing to discuss it.
Thank you. Thank you for your consideration. Thank you so much for coming.
I'll apologize. We should have had this type of meeting 6 months ago, 4 months ago, somewhere before we got to this point. So we'll do better on that. Because we have more projects coming in all of our counties. So.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Adjourn.